And here we are. We are back again. Of course, today is a very, very special show.
Yes.
Because it is May 4th. May the 4th. And as everyone will see on our video pack later this week, May the 4th be with all of you, because we have a plethora of Star Wars from the original Star Wars trilogy through Star Wars Rebels and beyond.
You have a VHS tape there, right?
Yes, yes,
wow.
VHS too. I'm trying to show love to all the decades of Star Wars here today.
You know, I was talking to a friend of mine, and one day I would love to actually watch Star Wars 1 through the end,
right,
up to J.J. Abrams'
yeah.
film. Yeah, it would be, yeah, and that's my stomach. I was hungry. I had half a donut, so I apologize for that. That was not a Brian Leone sound effect. That was my stomach. The Force was not with me at that moment. But have you ever done that? Have you ever watched?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, no, really?
Oh, yeah.
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And your thoughts watching the whole thing?
I love it.
Oh, okay.
I love it.
Okay.
You know, you see the good, the bad, the ugly, and, you know, and the Chewie.
The Chewie. Is Lucas's first 3 underrated, you think, or considering what he did with digital, or what is your thoughts on his?
I mean, I love them. They were cutting edge. They were new at the time. They
right?
hold up to this day. Empire Strikes Back, Empire and Sith, I still think are the 2 best.
Okay.
Of the 6.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. That is a minority opinion.
Yeah. Well, that's me.
Cool, though. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
You know, I'm known for my minority opinions.
The look of the Sith, by the way, is just I love it.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But for those of you just joining us, this is Behind the Lens. It is Monday, May 4th. I'm Debbie Elias. I'm sitting here with my cinematic cohort, Greg Srisavasdi.
Yes. You pronounce my last name better than me now. So,
I know. I work on it. I work on it. You can find me in newspaper publications and online all over the world, moviesharkdeblore.com, my site, moviesharkdeblore.com, Greg's site, deepestdreaming.com.
Yes. Deepestdream.com.
Deepestdream.com.
Yes. I'm always deepest dreaming, though.
Well, obviously.
Yes, so.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But we have another fun show for you today. We're going to go a little inside out, hear what Peak Docter has to say about the upcoming Inside Out film. We've got my pal Molly Elfman joining us probably 11:10, 11:15 to talk about Fun Size Horror, the horror/comedy anthology of shorts that is now on DVD. Molly packaged this whole thing together. I executive produced one of the shorts in there. Molly produced, directed, and wrote, I think, 3 of them that are in there, and then an assortment of stuff from other people. So it's really cool, and we're going to talk about that. At 11:30, we've got a relatively new director, Vahe Gabuchian, calling in about a new collegiate hijinks film with a little more subtext than we're used to, called The Party Is Over.
Okay.
And in the second half hour, hopefully we also get into some of my exclusive with that still a heartthrob, Jason Priestley, who makes his feature film directorial debut with CAS DYLAN, starring none other than Richard Dreyfuss.
Nice. I've yet to see that movie. So.
It is absolutely amazing, and Jason is so passionate about it. And you'll hear later in the show what he has to say about it. But right now, you have something to talk about our good friend Jane Clark.
Oh, yeah. You know, Jane, she's been on the show a couple of times, right?
A couple times already.
We both love Jane's movie, Crazy Bitches. How would you describe that film? Horror, comedy, kind of?
Horror
thriller?
Comedy. It's horror comedy with great sarcastic wit.
Great sarcastic wit. Basically, it's several women and a guy. They go out to kind of a little bit of rest and relaxation in some kind of remote ranch, and one by one, kind of like And Then There Were None, they're slowly off by some random mysterious killer. So it's kind of a whodunit, kind of a melange of so many different styles. But anyways, on my site, on my Deepest Dream site, I'm giving away 2 DVDs of Crazy Bitches. It's signed by Jane Clark herself, and check it out. I just posted the giveaway today, and I'm going to put it up for a couple of weeks. So one of the reasons why I really love the DVD is the director's commentary. Because if we're both film geeks, and Jane throughout the commentary gives a great, incisive, and actually realistic look at the highs and lows of indie filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're really into the whole machinations behind the scenes look at how to actually shoot an indie film, getting your budget, the remote locations, different film terms, it's a total worth checking out. The movie's worth checking out, number one, but the commentary is something I'm actually definitely going back to time and time again. And I learned a lot of stuff through the commentary.
Well, and she's been very open and forthcoming with us here on the air,
right,
talking about some of her challenges and, getting this project made, and then the subsequent issues involving piracy with digital downloads.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jane's very insightful. She has, she's one of those directors, guerrilla filmmaking is learned from the ground up. And,
Yeah, one of the things I really love about her aesthetic is even with a low budget, I'm thinking the movie was budgeted at like about $1 million or a little bit more than that. She has a great visual eye, and the movie doesn't look like a cheaply made film. So, anyways, check out my site and check out the Crazy Bitches giveaway.
Definitely,
right.
Definitely. And we know that she's working on a sequel to it, and when she has that ready to rock and roll, we'll hear about it first.
CB2 probably. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And well, we're waiting. I'm getting hand signals and all from our sound engineer Brian. This is just so fascinating and interesting. Because we don't. Okay, we don't.
We don't.
That's good. We thought we had Molly on the line. Oh, she's going to call back. Okay, I'm getting typed misspellings. Grammar Queen here is like having a coronary. Never mind. That's fine.
Well, very quickly about Crazy Bitches, a thing I love about that film as well is if you're a big fan of Steadicam shots, there's a ton of Steadicam shots there.
Yeah.
So.
No, I mean, Jane has some incredible cinematography going on in there, and, really takes advantage of her surroundings and makes the most of it. And now
yes,
we have the delightful Molly Elfman. The delightful Molly Elfman. Are you there?
A little bit quiet, but I am here.
Good morning.
Debbie!
Yeah. Molly! I'm getting a text message back here from sound engineer Brian. Molly's on now. I'm an okay speller.
He got okay right, though.
He got okay right in his message, but we're not going to comment on the rest of it. I am so thrilled, so excited that Fun Size Horror is now available for everybody to see.
I know, isn't it exciting? It feels like both a long time and a very little time that we've been able to do all of this.
This is
Volume 1.
So now, for everybody that doesn't know, because they've heard Ned talk about Bitter, the short that I exec produced.
Yes.
And this isn't the first, you and I have exec produced also on Bunker.
Yes, with Ned before.
Yes. So see, what we're doing is you and I are setting everybody up for the next project, which will be you and me.
Yeah, absolutely. That Ned guy, he's pretty cool.
But,
we'll probably, we'll figure that out. But
we got some other people, that might get us more financing. So
oh, really? I'm going to text Ned right now, actually.
Oh, no. I love Ned. Ned always and forever.
Yes. Oh, I love Ned.
Yes.
I wouldn't have done as many projects with him as I have if I didn't. So, yes. But now, for everybody that doesn't get this concept of Fun Size Horror, tell us what it is and how this brilliant idea struck you.
Well, first of all, I think we're still figuring out exactly what Fun Size Horror is. I think that's kind of something that will be consistently evolving and that we've been working very hard on trying to really sort out and explain to people. But I think that it's something that, first of all, I was not the original creator of this. Zeke Pinheiro was actually the original creator and is still our creator and our, overlord, as we like to call him. But he was the person who, while I was gone finishing what is now titled Before I Wake, and in that crazy world, he was gearing up and getting a ton of filmmakers that he's known over the years, and a lot of people who are extraordinarily talented, but not necessarily always given the opportunity. Or some of them are named people, but they don't get the opportunity to just go be silly and play and do something that they really care about and really want to do. So, and in a very short-form fashion. The nice thing about doing shorts is that you actually have the opportunity to take these wild risks, because you're not giving yourself a year to finish a project. You're giving yourself basically 6 to 10 weeks is kind of our usual kind of turnaround. But basically what this started was Zeke came up with this idea. He wanted to have 31 films come out for Halloween 2014. And I don't know how. Well, I kind of know how, because I ended up helping out. But somehow it actually happened. And that's also thanks to Bloody Disgusting, Badass Digest, Shock Till You Drop, Collider, and Dread Central, who helped us premiere all of these, which was online. So basically what we did was we made 31 short horror films, which was a bunch of filmmakers all on their own, putting this together. I think I ended up producing about 9 or 10 or something like that. I acted in one, I directed another. Zeke oversaw everything. Michael May, who I've produced with a ton, ended up coming on board too to help out, because it was just completely overwhelming and needed extra hands and extra brains. And then, so we released them online Halloween week, and we kind of did a online trick-or-treat, is what we said, is like, go trick-or-treating for these videos online for 1 week only. And now what we've done is we've taken those films and we've bundled them all up into a very full anthology film that came out on May 1st, just last Friday, through Gravitas, and is available.
And, of course, this is the alternative programming to go into the theater to see Avengers Age of Ultron.
Exactly. Maybe when you've seen that, you just want something a little bit extra, or you want a little taste before you go out. The nice part about it is that, look, it's a huge anthology. I believe there's 21 films actually in the feature, because we couldn't fit all 31 in and still come in under 90 minutes as part of our problem, which was extraordinarily tricky. But they're little. Is
it 21 or 18 or something? I'm not even sure.
I'm sorry?
21 or 18, somewhere in there.
There's a lot of them.
I watched it. I've seen them all.
What do you think?
I am in love with Knock Knock. That one is so great, and perfect timing, because it is so reminiscent of what we've just seen from Jennifer Kent with the Babadook from Australia. So I am in love with Knock Knock. Bad Eggs is absolutely adorable.
That was one of those ones that I remember when we first saw that. We were all like, people are going to love this or hate this. There's certain ones that have a clear divide. I love that one. I think that it's so ridiculous and wild, and just the audacity to kind of move forward with that is absolutely
I love that
fantastic.
one. Happy Birthday is not one of my favorites.
No, why's that?
Well, we can't give away spoilers.
Okay, all right. Oh, I think I know why.
Yes,
I just figured it out. Yeah,
that one's dicey.
It's a little bit.
That one's dicey.
Well, the nice part, the whole entire point of this was, first of all, we are very adamant on having no crossover. And last year there was a little bit, but this year, because we are moving on to Volume 2 right now, we want there to be no crossover. So ultimately, when you have 31 films and no crossover, everybody has different favorites. There's no way that everybody that I talked to, literally, there's almost no crossover. I think there's certain ones that definitely had bigger production value, and there's certain ones that are a little bit cleaner, and that's frankly because they had more resources. But that being said, everybody kind of has their own preference, and we always say that we're basically a big bag of candy, and you pick out your favorite ones, and that's kind of the whole point of this entire of everything that we're doing.
Well, perfect example is you look at something like Voice, which is yours.
Yes, thank you.
And and Persephone, we've got black and white in there, and I love the way the whole package is done, because you go from a short little quickie black and white film to this bright, vibrant outdoor happy birthday film with little kids and balloons and party things. So it throws you off balance, much as like what a well-constructed horror film as a whole will do.
Well, I'm glad that you saw that, because they're not just randomly placed back to back. There was actually some thought process that went into that, and hopefully a few little fun gags that you're going to find. And again, that was Zeke kind of orchestrating, and it was funny because we actually had an email chain going. We're like, how are we going to put these together? What are we going to do? And I think we all sent each other at the same time, like almost the exact same email in terms of order. And it's coming up with little fun things that just connect one from the other, whether it be, knife play from one to the next with two completely different contexts, or, indoor to outdoor, and just playing with things as much as we possibly can. Again, we really take the fun part of fun-size horror very seriously.
Yeah, I mean, the anthology is packaged so well that way. But what I also found really interesting, because so often when you get anthologies, you've got title cards and things in between, so it disrupts the flow. You also avoid that.
We do, and I think part of the reason is I get why people do the title cards. They really want to make sure that everybody knows this is this film and this is that. We want, we're a team. All the filmmakers support all the other filmmakers, and if one succeeds, everybody succeeds. If one fails, everybody fails. And so we wanted to really give it its best shot at actually playing as one, hopefully very fun, not so fun-sized, but fun horror film. And I think that was very important, because if you don't get into some kind of flow and allow yourself to kind of get caught up in that, it feels like tiny little pieces. And the goal of actually doing a feature film was, we've already released the pieces, we're trying to find a way to actually tie these together and make it an enjoyable experience to watch from the top all the way to the bottom.
Just from your experience, what are the key elements, components for you as far as being a producer? What kind of skill sets do you need, especially when you're culling together and organizing all these shorts?
Insanity. Multitasking.
He never asked me these questions. I'm a producer too, but people don't ask me that.
I think what's important, first of all, it's never just any one producer. It's always Zeke, Michael, and I work together constantly. We're always in rooms bickering about everything, and of course making jokes and getting along. But you got to bicker to get through it all. But I think it's keeping an open mind, and it's really it's having both an idea of a structure and things that are absolutely needed, and then it's also knowing that you're going to completely lose that at a certain point, and being completely comfortable with going down new routes and coming up with new ideas. And also knowing that we really try to empower our filmmakers. We are not sitting here trying to micromanage anybody. The entire point and kind of the structure of how we set up this year as opposed to last year is we're trying to give filmmakers the opportunity to actually go and do something fun and creative. And so we do a lot of kind of setting up the groundwork for them so that hopefully they have some, a playground to go play on. So we very much assist, and we help people, but we're not trying to in any way curb their creativity. And so but in order to be a good producer, I mean, I have it's magic. Some days you're better than others. It's knowing what you need, it's knowing where you need to get to, and it's always keeping that end goal in mind, which is that we love filmmaking. We love working with filmmakers, and the thing that we're always looking for is that next crazy person who has an amazing idea that nobody's heard of before, and being open to that. Does that answer that question? I'm not even sure.
And it did. And just very quickly, will that same kind of playground and aesthetic go into Fun Size Horror Volume 2? Is that the same kind of operations for that?
Well, for Volume 2, what we've done is we definitely learned a few lessons last year. One is that when you have so many different filmmakers working with so many different companies, it makes it very difficult. So this year we've actually partnered with a bunch of vendors. Sound of Ram is doing all of our sound for us, everything from production through post, and then we have more companies that come in and help us with G&E, camera companies, post facilities, and the reason being is because when not only do you have 31 filmmakers, but they're all working out of different post houses, just trying to keep track of where everybody is becomes almost your daily goal, and that shouldn't be the case. Again, we want to actually be able to make sure that we're focusing on the quality of these shorts and our filmmakers and allowing them to do stuff as opposed to just where is everything. So this year what we've really done is set up much more of a playground. We have all the nitty-gritty boring stuff, the insurance, the paperwork, the SAG agreements. We're kind of helping people through all of that so that hopefully they actually have an opportunity to do more stuff that they actually want to be able to do and focus on that. It's very hard when you're worried if your camera is going to be on set the next day, for directors to be thinking about, oh, what's my shot list? And so, and actors, instead of them having to think about what am I, what's this or what's that, what's my call time, to actually have an AD that's actually running the set so that they can focus on their performance. And the same thing goes for the entire team. So we've set it up a little bit more. We also have set up a website, funsizehorror.com, which will be launched soon, and that'll have a lot more details on kind of the structure of how we've set everything up for this year. And the other thing is that we read, I think we've read over 275 scripts this year.
Oh my God!
So, and that was, we didn't even post anything publicly because at the moment it's just the three of us kind of trying to put all this together. So that was enough.
Wow.
So it's been really great, and bringing some filmmakers back from last year, including Ned, by the way.
I know.
and then also finding new people that we just never even knew of that are so incredible and exciting, and bringing ideas that we never could have imagined. So that's very exciting. And then the release for this we'll figure out. It's going to be a little bit different this year. There will be 31 new horror films this Halloween for sure. We will be setting up a website, though, where people can post their videos. It's user-generated content as well as fun-size horror content.
Oh, nice.
Anybody who has any horror films, we will help you publicize them. We will help you get them out. We will have deals that help get these shorts made into features. So please go to the website. Well, I think it'll be up in the next week or two, funsizehorror.com, and you can get a lot more of that info there.
Well, it's great that website's going to be up, but for right now, for people that want to experience fun-size horror right this minute today,
yep.
How do they get it, and where do they go to get it?
iTunes, Amazon, Xbox. I believe it's on almost every VOD platform at the moment. You can also go to funsizehorror.com. We do just have a splash page that has a link to everywhere that it is available. It's available through some TV channels. I believe Comcast is showing it and a couple of others. But I would say the easiest way is iTunes, Amazon, anywhere on VOD. You can likely pick that up. Yeah.
And what's the cost?
It depends, actually. It's a little bit different everywhere, but I believe it's about $12.
Well, that's not bad.
Yeah.
85 minutes of entertainment.
85. Yes, I'm looking. Yes, it's $12.99 on iTunes. I just had to look that up myself. And I
woman, you're supposed to know how much money, so I know when I can recoup an investment. Come on.
Oh, we'll deal with all that later. I know.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
That's actually, we are very grateful for Michael May for that, because I am not the best when it comes to that side in the accounting, and thank God for him, who really helps us keep everything together and remind. It's kind of, Zeke is the very creative one, and he has these great ideas, and I'm kind of like, let's package it and do all of this stuff, and I'm obsessed with calendars and like doing all that, and then Mikey's the one who likes to remind us, guys, if you don't have insurance, you ain't doing any of it. And we're like, oh yeah. So it's a good team.
Yeah. No.
Everybody's a little creative and a little obsessive.
No, but everybody, now, hard copies of the DVD, that's available too?
Hard copies are not available at this point. Hopefully we'll have that available down the line, and I'm not exactly sure their release date at this point. At the moment, it's just purely VOD.
That still works. That still works. So now what's happening with your other feature ventures that I know you've been working on for a while? Jesus Hates Zombies. Scared Airs you finished, right?
Scared? No, we're actually just we
good
just
Lord.
Started to package that one together again. I got caught up in Before I Wake, which will be coming out September 25th at the end of, I guess, early fall, which I'm very excited about. That'll be my first kind of film of that level coming out, and it'll be in theaters everywhere, hopefully. And so we have that, but all the other projects, there's a lot of them. Fun-size horror has kind of taken over our life. The other thing is we have 3 films from last year that were shorts that got just very popular, and we have features written, so we're now pushing those into development. And the idea this year as well is finding those shorts. Some of the shorts just work great as short little pieces, but some of them also have legs, and picking those ones out and really starting to push those. But yes, Scared Airs is gearing up again. I'm not allowed to announce anything quite yet.
That's
so
okay.
Close.
You and I have been talking about Scared Airs for a number of years now.
Oh God, it's so good, isn't it?
I'm dying. I am dying for you to get this made.
I know, it's getting very close. And then I'm working with Karen Gillan. We have a film called Tupperware Party.
Okay, that's a horror film in and of itself.
Well, it's definitely darker than the title would have you lead you to believe. But we've just been gearing up, and we've been setting that one up in Scotland, and so hopefully that one will be shooting this year. At least that's the plan for the moment. And then there's a bunch of stuff in the works right now, a bunch of stuff in development that we're pushing forward, and just very eager to get back on set. And we're just starting to shoot Fun Size Horror Volume 2. And getting those rolling, so that's very exciting. And we just have to shoot 31 of those, so that's it's
piece of cake, piece of cake.
So easy, right?
You've done it once, you can do it again.
Well, we barely survived. I remember while we were doing the release last year, Michael May was actually finishing his feature film that he has going on. Zeke, by the end of it, I think something was going on with his tooth, and he had this horrible root canal, and I remember he needed to go to the dentist so bad, but I was like, you just have to help me finish the delivery. And I think we almost killed him. I think we got pretty close.
Okay,
to the
that's
end
a horror film in and of itself that needs to be made.
Oh, it is. By the way, it's really hard when you do these. Literally, you're looking around constantly, and you're like, now that's a horror film. We have a great one that we've come up with for for influencers and people that we have that are completely addicted to Twitter and their cell phones.
Uh-oh.
We got some fun stuff there. But yeah, it's I think it almost killed most of us last year. I remember after Halloween, I was just about ready to keel over. It was both a very exciting Halloween and an extraordinarily exhausting Halloween, and I look forward to that being kind of a yearly thing now.
Hey, you got to have something to look forward to.
Yeah, exactly. Going straight to my grave, but if I do, I'll film it on the way.
Oh, my God. Well, my friend, I am so glad you could call in today.
I am so glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
And you'll have to come down in person one day when you're... Because I know, for people that don't know, Molly was just at the Stanley Film Festival.
Oh, my God, and that was... I'm not exactly sure what's real or what isn't still. I'm still kind of in the game of the Stanley Film Festival. For anybody who hasn't gone, you have to go. It is one of the most amazing film festivals and horror experiences that I think I've ever had in my life. It was amazing. Well,
hopefully you'll be back there again next year with Before I Wake.
Ah, that would be... Well, and also Fun Size Horror, let's not forget.
Let's not forget. I'm trying to push your feature film endeavor here, woman. Come on. Come on.
We got plenty. I'll be back before then, won't I?
Yeah.
I'll be back in person before that, or Before I Wake.
Come on. You know you're welcome anytime.
Aww.
Anytime.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
All right, you and I are going to hook up very, very, very soon.
Would love that.
So that we can do a real in-depth interview with all the fun stuff going on and catch up and figure out how much trouble we can get into.
Oh, probably quite a bit. So I look forward to that.
All right, Fun Size Horror everywhere on VOD now, right this minute.
Go watch it. It's fun.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Molly.
Awesome. Absolutely. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
And that was it, Fun Size Horror. And it is a whole lot of fun. And I have to say, even though Bitter is the film...
I heard the Bitter producer wasn't so,
don't even go.
The director, I heard, is very talented.
I actually have to say,
very talented
as
filmmaker.
much as I love Bitter...
Yes.
Out of everything on Fun Size Horror, I really do... My favorites are Knock Knock and Bad Eggs. Yes, I do admit when I like things better than my own projects.
Wow, okay.
And, yeah, I actually do.
Okay. But Bitter Comes a Close is right up there.
It's
right up there.
It's in 5.
It had a great producer behind it.
Yeah, well, I know that.
So.
But, yeah, so...
Very quickly, Before I Wake, the leads are Kate Bosworth and Thomas Jane.
Yes.
Excellent. And I've seen some of the stills. It looks... pretty cool, like psychological thriller. I can't wait to see it. So
yeah.
So
we will and hopefully, because it is Thomas and it is Kate, that come release time, we will get them on Behind the Lens.
Nice.
But we're going to take a short break right now, and we'll rejoin you momentarily on Behind the Lens. Behind the Lens is sponsored in part by the Culver City Observer. Located in the heart of Screenland, Culver City Observer is available in print and online at www.culvercityobserver.com. back. Behind the Lens. I'm Debbie Elias, and I'm sitting here with Greg Srisavasdi.
Hello.
And joining us right now is director Vahe Gabuchian. Vahe, how are you?
I'm good. How's it going? Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you, too. Well, we've seen a little bit of your handiwork here with The Party Is Over.
Nice.
And I have to say, very, very nice indeed. This is your first feature venture, yes?
Yes, it is.
Because I know you've done some shorts, but this is, I would have to admit, I was very impressed, really, that you didn't, while you have some of the expected collegiate cliches, so to speak, you then add, you and your writer, Julian Camilleri, add this great subtext that is so engrossing and really elevates the substance and thematics of the film. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Where did the idea for The Party Is Over come from?
Well, Julian's one of my closest friends, so I've been very lucky to know him since about 7th grade. So we played football together and we went to college together, so you can imagine all the stories that accumulate under your belt, all the experiences you share together. And the first time Julian gave me the script, I went through it, and I'm saying, hold on, I think that's me, and that happened to me, man. So there's like a mixture of all of our experiences, so I'm like, there's no way we're not making this movie. I mean, we know some of these things, we know how they go, so let's just shape it and present it to the public. And I'm glad that you saw some of the weird things we saw. It was pretty much that. So
now, with a lifetime of experiences between the two of you, how do you cull it down to pick out these 3 specific couples and basically focus on their 3 issues as the main tines of your fork, so to speak?
That's a really good question. If all the characters, if all the things we could have chosen, how did we end up with this?
Yeah, because
that's a question better suited for Julian. But
who flaked today?
We were in a difficult time in our lives. We're growing up. We were about 23, 24, 25 at most, around that time. I hadn't had a girlfriend in a while, struggling with those kind of things, working all the time. I'm kind of just feeling mostly down and kind of lonely. And Julian was experiencing similar stuff, so I don't know. These things just come out, These stories just come out.
Okay, well,
somehow.
At first blush, when people see The Party Is Over, they're going to see what we all have come to know and love about college films. Animal House. I mean, immediately you think of Animal House. The drunken party, the beer bottles, the red plastic cups all over the yard. Okay, now we want the truth here. How many parties did you have that looked like that? I'm guessing all of that was based. It is perfectly in tune with real life experience.
We were limited by the rules of the world, which we all agree on. So. We can't have too many loud parties, and that makes sense. I agree on that. I signed a social contract, so we've had about 5 really big ones, and it was really, 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 really fun. So we've had about 5 big ones where we got in trouble, and then we said maybe we should tone it down a little, and then we realized that little parties are really fun too. So it's kind of a mixture of kickback to full-blown insane, whatever you want to call it. I want to say a bad word, but I won't. We
try and keep things.
I know, I just filtered it. I just realized that.
Just wondering,
that was fun.
With your film, did you have a lot of a big budget to work with? Wondering how you got your financing together and just the production schedule. How breakneck? Was it a breakneck kind of schedule, or did you have a lot of days to shoot?
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to be learning and studying engineering for a while, so I've kind of just, on that end, the organization end, it was okay, to be honest. It was crazy, but I was very, very up for the organizational challenge, so that was, cool. I wanted that. But I didn't know some of the mechanics of like filmmaking. You know, I've made all the shorts and stuff, and when my dad told me, "Hey, you like making movies, so Julian's your friend, and I'm a crazy guy, so here's a little bit of money, and you know, maybe we could start with that." Kind of just start off with that, and that's literally how it started. My dad just saying, "Look, man, you're young. I see you like movies. Try it, you know."
Well, you know, one big ace in the hole that you have here is Kathy Baker came in as a producer on this film.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just a lucky set of coincidences, I feel. Kathy Baker's Julian's mom, and it's, in a way, it's kind of like a family movie. I was always working with, very closely with Julian, as I always have, you know, on everything we made. Honestly, that's the fun way to do it. Like, just, you know, just have fun. If you have the luxury, try and have fun, right? So Kathy Baker came in, and she really helped me interface with the actors, because back then it was just, you know, people come over to my house, okay, you stand there, and you walk, and give me a beer, things like that. It was just fun, friend style, you know? So Kathy Baker taught me how to interface with actors, and Steve Robman, who's Julian's stepdad, taught me a little more how the set worked. So it was very, very lucky circumstances, and my dad also kind of just, you know, supporting the project, and they came aboard immediately. It grew from there.
Well, you know, one of the couples and the storyline that really stands out, that I think is perhaps the strongest one in the film, is the aggressive sex play role and the scenario between Fino and Nia. That is so tightly written, but what really sells it is not only Mickey Shalowan's performance, and I'll tell you, he's got all the makings. He's going to look back one day and be thanking you for casting him in this leading role, because he really has all the makings of a breakout star. But that storyline is so tight, and with the whole parental support of, rather than a parent blaming their child for something based on first impression accusations, you've got parents, especially a mother, trying to help her son to clear his name and prove his innocence. And it's a testament between Kathy's work with Mickey and you casting Mickey. Very, very well done element of this film.
Thank you. It was Mickey was actually one of the tougher. You know, we had two choices, and we're like, we really want Mickey, and there were some scheduling conflicts, but I'm like, please just try. I like this guy, please. Let's work with him. So things aligned on that end, too. It was a couple really nervous days, but it went well.
And, of course, a big casting coup for you was getting Kyle Mooney.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know.
Again, we got real lucky on that. I mean, that's just Julian hung out with them in USC, and that's just, you know, us being kids, so. I
mean, I'm a huge fan of Kyle's work on Hello Ladies, and I know he's done SNL. You don't have slouch casting here. You really did luck out. The stars aligned for you here, Vahe.
Yeah. Me and Julian together watch a lot of movies. I mean, you know, I do my work, it's like engineering. He writes his essays, and then we get home and we're like, all right, well, what do you want to watch? So we watch a lot of movies together. We both realize we like them a lot. So we just keep talking about them, and Julian has a real good knack of seeing the human in the character. He has a good knack of seeing that, and I always support him, and I actually learned from him too. So we got lucky on the actors. I completely agree.
I mean, I'm you know, that's one of the things that really impressed me the more I got into watching the film. Now, what would you say was the biggest learning curve for you, besides interfacing with the actors? In going from the short to the feature.
For me, since it was my first feature film, I had to make sure that, you know, at least externally, my composure is very well set. So for me, it was very important to get the first day correct. I made sure to, you know, take everyone out, the whole crew, to lunch, have beers with them, because if all hell breaks loose, you know, they have to be on my side for this movie, you know? And I remember the first day, you know, you say, all right, well, okay, roll, sound, yada, yada, yada. And then you say action. I was so excited. I said it way too early. They're like, hold on, we got to do this. I'm like, yeah, I know that. I was just so excited, you know, and the crew was super supportive. I made sure that they were, all, in a way, my friends. You know, I was trying to get that feeling across.
Well,
So,
I think it definitely translates onto the screen that there was harmony and friendship going on behind the lens.
Yeah. It was honestly really fun. I wish you could have been there. You would have had a good time. Like, we were just, you know, shielded from the insanity and the time crunch as every production has. Mm-hmm. We were trying to laugh and say stupid jokes on the side. So.
Well, when you do your next set, I'll come do a set visit with you.
Yeah, please, seriously, come by. You know, what else are we going to do, you know?
I just have a very quick question. In the future, do you see yourself going on the engineering track and directing track as well, or is one...
You know, I just literally finished my work, my graduate work, so I will need about a month to disconnect from pretty much emails and everything, and then I'll be back with a decision. And I think I'm leaning a little towards engineering now. But life without movies might as well just kill me now, you know? If you say you can't make another movie in your life, oh, okay, why not, you know?
You know, never cut yourself off.
It doesn't feel good, yeah. It doesn't feel good thinking you can't, you know, if you choose a career track, then you kind of shoot yourself in the foot, but that's a long discussion we can have another day. You know?
So tell me, because you love movies so much, what would you say are the movies that influenced you the most?
Blues Brothers.
And that really does come through in The Party Is Over. Let me tell you. Okay, I buy that.
Well, Blues Brothers, I really love that movie. In Armenia, we were one of the few families to have, we were lucky enough, again, to have a VCR, one of the top-loading ones, and I only had like 2 tapes, you know. It was very difficult. You'd have to go to people's houses to rent movies. So my uncle would always bring me Bruce Lee movies and Predator and like horrific movies that you should not be watching as a kid. So, you know, my parents got in arguments over that. It was fun as hell. And Blues Brothers was the tape that I watched so much that it kept ripping. So I kept opening it and just like gluing it on with my mom's nail polish remover.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, I know. It ripped in everywhere. It was awesome. So I phonetically memorized that movie. I literally was on all day. It was kind of scary almost. And then when I moved to America, I started learning English. And so it was a weird... Blues Brothers is a weird movie for me.
But it is one you will never forget.
I will never forget, nor should I.
Well, Vahe, The Party Is Over. It's on VOD now, correct?
Yes.
Is it just digital download or VOD on time?
It's on iTunes. It's on VOD, and you can get a lot more info at the website, which is www.partiesovermovie.com. So that's a good place for info.
Very good. Well, Vahe, thank you. Congratulations on the film. A job well done. First feature out of the box. I do hope that at some point you do do another film.
Yes, and I promise you and the audience that it will be at least twice as good, hopefully, you know.
Well,
always improve. So.
Well, you do that, and I will come and do a set visit on your next film when you figure out what you're going to do.
Sounds great. I hope to see you there.
Oh, you can count on it. Vahe, thank you so much.
Thank you guys very, very much, and good luck.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And that was Vahe Gabuchian, the director of The Party Is Over, out now on VOD. Very enthusiastic young man.
Yeah, I've never seen a movie through and through all day like he did with the Blues Brothers.
Well, I have.
Oh, okay.
I have.
What movie was it?
We'll talk about that another time.
Another time, okay.
Right now, we are going to jump into something that has been late in coming because we've had such jam-packed shows. My visit to Pixar. We're going to start filtering in Pixar now for Inside Out. Number one, Pixar is amazing, but this film, Inside Out, is spectacular. While I was up there, I had a chance to get in a lot of interviews with the director, Pete Docter, producer, Jonas Rivera, the lighting tech director, Angelique Reich, who we will play part of that interview in coming weeks, animators, animation directors, story artists. Absolutely. You guys are in for a treat when Inside Out comes out.
I was reading someone that's a very emotionally charged film.
Yes, because it takes place in the mind of an 11-year-old named Riley with all of her emotions, who are joy, disgust, fear, sadness, and of course one of my favorites, anger. And
mine's fear and sadness.
Your mind is set up as a headquarters, and this comes from the imagination of Pete Docter, based on watching his daughter.
Oh, that's amazing.
Growing up.
Yeah.
And just the visuals, as comes as no surprise. Disney and Pixar, once again, they up the ante on the technical scale, incorporating some new technology here, taking an old technology, globe illumination, which was part of their RenderMan complement back in the early 200s. It was used to a great success with Monsters University. But now tweaking that because of the design of the individual characters, and particularly the main character, Joy, who kind of runs the emotional headquarters. And Joy is, as you will hear Pete Docter talk about momentarily here, she is the light source. And light sources you can run into issues with shadows and then design of the characters and like a glow to them and a velour quality, a fuzzy quality that essentially look the way you think emotions would look. So here's what Pete Docter and Jonas Rivera, a first excerpt of many more to come over the coming weeks, talking Inside Out.
Yeah, Pete, one of the great things, there's a new color palette we're seeing here, on the color scale. How did you go about choosing the colors, and then what is the new technology that you're using? You know, I know Big Hero 6 used the Hyperion, which was new and is proprietary to Disney. What is it, the new technology that allowed you to come up with that velour texture to the characters with the fairy dust glistening off?
Yeah, isn't that cool?
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, we chose colors, some of them, from the get-go, we knew we wanted it to be a sort of a broad, comedic, caricatured world, right, inside headquarters. And so we designed the characters very stylized and pushed, and then we chose primary colors, really opposite each other so that everybody occupies their own kind of space in the color spectrum. And some of them were obvious, like anger, obviously red is kind of, iconic. So purple for fear is a little more like, well, we haven't used that color, so that'll be purple. And then the particles and the sparkling thing came from the desire to make it feel the way our emotions, to look the way our emotions feel to us, So we knew we didn't want them to look like flesh or cloth or whatever. We wanted it to be something unique and different. So the technical folks worked out this amazing thing where the animators work with a solid character the way we usually do, and then that's replaced by a fog. And with the fog are all these frontward-facing dots that just kind of roil and move. So no matter where the camera goes, they orient to face the cameras because they're flat little discs. And between those things, plus a little bit of glow, and there was quite a bit, you may have talked to the lighting folks today, quite a bit of jiggery pokery to get the glowing, especially on Joy, to work. Because we've never had a character that's a light source, which was a challenge. She doesn't, I don't know if you noticed, there's only 2 shots in the film that she has a shadow. All the rest, because, it's like you put a light on the table, it wouldn't cast a shadow, it casts light onto the surface. So we kind of reversed that out. But there's a lot of cheating that happens there, too.
So you mentioned tools like Big Hero 6 is kind of, and you'll hear from, I think you'll meet Angelique later, we'll talk about lighting, but our big kind of tool advancement was called global illumination, which kind of went through on Monsters University, which sort of allows light to behave like light in the real world. It knows what practical lights are, and it casts shadows, and it sort of does a lot of the work for you, which is great until you come up with a movie where you're completely asking your technical team to break the rules of how lighting behaves in the real world, and there's no shadows and characters, or so, you know. He starts pitching this, and our technical team's like,
we just came up with this thing.
God,
there's a lot.
You know, so we tend to invert, you know, eat the gains a little bit. But I think they were really excited about the challenge of having something, as you said, to direct it. Like, our technical teams are very literal, like they have to be. And when Pete would come to me, like, I want it to feel this way, or it should feel like look like emotions feel. And so it was this very interpretive thing and technical, which we thought was pretty cool, and led to something that we hope looks unique and different.
And that was Pete Docter and producer Jonas Rivera. In the coming weeks, you will hear from Angelique, as I said, from Angelique Reich, the lighting technical director, and this new system tweaking that globe illumination with what is now called geometry light. And it's really interesting, and to watch how it's done is just amazing.
Well, up close for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so we will be hearing more about Inside Out. One of my favorite interviews was my one-on-one with Ralph Eggleston, the production designer, because so much of what he designs comes into play with how this geometry light and the globe illumination works. Everything is done synergistically.
You know what's weird about Pete is he hasn't done a movie since... Has he done a movie since Up? Probably not. So it's been about 6 years now, right? So...
But that's about what it takes to get one of these done.
That's so amazing.
I know. Well, there's a movie that it's not animated, it's not Disney Pixar, but I think it's taken pretty close to that for it to get done. CAS and DYLAN, Jason Priestley, you all know him from 90210 and a multitude of other things. He has directed episodic TV before, and he's done a couple telemovies, but he has now made the jump, the hyper jump, into feature directing with CAS and DYLAN. And for a first-time feature director to end up with Richard Dreyfuss and Tatiana Maslany as two of your cast, I don't know what it is. The sun was shining down on you.
Does he do a good job as a director, you think?
He is amazing. This film, it is beautifully lensed. It's wonderfully acted. There's nuance. There's affection. The story is bittersweet, poignant, funny, heartbreaking. It is, essentially, it boils down to a road picture. And as I told him, it's like Hope and Crosby, eat your hearts out. Because this is a whole new layer and level of what we're seeing. So, here's what Jason had to say about making CAS and DYLAN.
How early on did you get involved? Did you and Jesse come up with this together? Did Jesse have a script first?
Jesse had a script. Mark Montefiore optioned the script. The two of them met at a script symposium or something like that. And Jesse had some other script that had been optioned by somebody else. They were talking about it at the symposium, and Mark liked her writing. Met with her and said, have anything else? She said, well, I got my writing sample. He gets the script in a writing sample for a while, and the two of them worked on it a little bit. Mark then took it out and tried to find a director. It came across my desk. I read it. I liked the material. It felt like it was the right scale of movie to do as a first time film. But it also felt like something that I could make feel much bigger than it actually was, and I could foresee a lot of the problems that were going to happen, and I could also come up with a lot of creative solutions to get around those problems. And anyway, so I called Mark, and we talked about it for quite a while actually, and then and he liked what I had to say, so he hired me to come on as the director, and Jesse and I then worked on the script for about 8 or 9 months, and then Mark called me and said, "Hey, I got the money. Let's go make a movie." And I said, "Great, let's go make a movie." And so I went to Toronto and we cast Tatiana, and then we set about trying to find a cast that proved to be a little bit more difficult. I sent the script to my agents here in Los Angeles, and my agent called me back the next day, and he said, "What do you think about Dreyfuss?" I said, "Well, what do I think about Dreyfuss? You think we can get him?" And he said, "Maybe. I mean, if he likes it, he might do it." And I said, "Okay. You want to send it to him?" He said, "Already sent." I was like, "Okay." And he called me back 2 days later, and he said, "Dreyfuss wants to talk to you."
Wow.
And I said, "Okay." He said, "Here's his number, call him." And so I called him. And 3 hours later, Dreyfuss was in.
Wow.
And that was that.
And the Jessie that Jason's referring to is screenwriter Jessie Gabe. She comes out of a television background, which is why the dialogue, it has a very comfortable, easy feel to it as you listen to the film. But, and I know we're only going to have time to do one more of my excerpts here with Jason. One of the key elements, though, is he comes out of a very strong television background. So how does that impact how he works, and as does his cinematographer, Gerald Packer, who is an extremely amazing cinematographer, and adds another whole layer of storytelling to the film. So I asked Jason about coming out of TV, Gerald coming out of TV, Jessie coming out of TV. Help, hindrance, how does it play out?
The stars definitely aligned for this one. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I find really interesting with the back end of this film is that you come out of television, Jessie comes out of television, Gerald comes out of television.
Yeah.
Does that help you as a director?
Yeah. Well, I think, TV is a great place to learn how to learn how to do things on time and on budget, because you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And it also has been a great place for me to learn how to tell stories.
Right.
I mean, it's all storytelling, and whether you're telling a story in 22 minutes or 44 minutes or 90 minutes or 120 minutes, it's all storytelling.
Yeah.
And I think the difference between television and films. In film, you have to tell the story at a slightly different pace and on a much different scale. Mm-hmm. But that's the filmmaking process is the filmmaking process. Right. And it just depends what medium you're shooting it for. Mm-hmm. You're shooting a web series, you're shooting it for TV, you're shooting it as a feature, and that has to drive some of the decisions that you make. Mm-hmm. But the process is the process. Mm-hmm. You got to rehearse it, you got to light it, you got to shoot it. You go rehearse it, you light it, you shoot it.
And words of wisdom from Jason Priestley.
Rehearse it, light it, shoot it.
That's pretty much it. Well, that is all the time that we're going to have time for today. Hopefully next week, play a little more of Jason. Hopefully...
Slow West, maybe?
Slow West. Quincy Rose is going to be joining us live. Quincy is son of Mickey Rose, screenwriting partner to Woody Allen, one of the half of the mind behind Bananas and other films like that. And Woody Allen just happens to be Quincy's godfather.
Oh, nice.
And one of the most delightful interviews I've ever had. And I think everybody's going to be utterly charmed and love hearing from Quincy next week. He'll be talking about his new film, Miles to Go, and an upcoming film that is just now hitting the fest circuit. Friends Effin' Friends Effin' Friends. And yes, that's the name of it.
Wow.
So, that's it for today. We'll be back next week. And may the 4th be with you.